Hello, the internet. It is Thursday, the 15th of July, 2021, and welcome back to the channel. And welcome back to day 15 of Julive. Julive. Now, what is Julive? It's where I go live every day for the month of July, right here on the tubes of you. I do live streams daily on DLive, another platform. However, for the month of July, I'm making additional streams at the beginning of the day, typically right here on YouTube. This stream was going to be a little whiles later. I was going to go surfing originally. There is no swell, so I bumped this thing forward. We're doing it now. This kind of stream does touch in a little bit of surfing, I suppose. We're talking about monetizing animals. Now, we have touched on this sort of topic ever so briefly before, the concept of people shooting videos of rescue animals. They're rescuing dogs from drains. We all know, well, I know that they put them in there originally and then they start the video like they're helping. They do it for the views. That's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about a sort of, let's just call it a side shoot of that kind of concept. And it was raised by a viewer, by a giver, lovely Shyla Rose. I don't think she's here right now in the morning, but she did ask for this. Raised it as a topic discussion. Before we get into it, though, I want to say hello to the chat. And it's just you and me, David. David, 2010, good morning. I just woke up. Well, hello, David. Good to see you. It's just you and I here, man. This is not surprising. Good to have you, David. I hope you had a pleasant slumber. Let's talk you and I, man. Just have a discussion between you and me. So a little while ago, I watched a podcast, Hawk vs. Wolf. Tony Hawk, Jason Ellis, skateboarding. If you're not interested in skateboarding, you might not be very interested in Jason Ellis, but you would definitely know of, and you'd be interested in Tony Hawk, right? Everybody knows, household name. Oh, crikey, we got a second view of Political Foolishness. It's me too. Hello, Political Foolishness. Good to see you, man. Little cheers for you. So yeah, I watched this podcast. It's only about 4 episodes in. When I heard that Jason Ellis and Tony Hawk were doing a podcast, I was like, wow, this is going to be cool. Jason Ellis is an Australian. He's been living in America for most of his life now, probably more than half of his life, but he skateboarder from Victoria, kicking around through, a little older than me, but definitely someone I looked up to in the magazines as a kid. Tony Hawk, of course, being very, very similar, but Tony Hawk being the top. So I followed their podcast from the very beginning. Now, just recently, they put up an episode where they had a guest, and you know him, well, you may know him as somewhat of a surfing celebrity stuntman. Goes by the name of Poopies. Nothing to do with Poopsie. And let me just put this out there as well. We named Poopsie before I knew of Poopy. Poopy, 2 different names, right? Poopsie and Poop-E. Poop-E is this gentleman's name. He's been named that for a long, long time. But I never knew of him when Poopsie was born. Poopsie's only 5. No, she'd be 6 now. No, she's 5.5. Or as she'd say, 5 3/4. I'm almost 6. She's been around for 5 years. I've only just known about Poopies for the last maybe 3 years since I started surfing. Either way, he went on to, he's joined in the new Jackass team, right? These guys that make sort of dubious stunt videos where they mess everybody up for the cameras. And on this Hawk vs. Wolf podcast, they talked about his incident where he got bitten by a shark. And then they show the footage and he talks about it with Ellis and Hawk, and they get right into the details of it. As I was watching that, I was thinking, so the basic premise of the stunt is that they chummed up this water where there are known sharks, right? The sharks there already. They chum the water up, meaning they put in blood and bones and all that crap that attracts sharks in this one area. Then they put a launch ramp in front of it. And the stunt is Poopies has to, on a wakeboard, has to launch off this jump ramp, land in the shark-infested waters, and shoot off the other side, and everything's cool. Poopies is a bit of a kook. He's he's a way better skateboarder and surfer than I'll ever be, but he's still a bit of a kook, right? And so he messes it up. He doesn't quite make it. He doesn't make it at all, actually, and he just slams into the water. And then what do you think happens? He gets attacked by a shark. He gets quite badly bitten, rips into his wrist and sort of messes up his tendons and blood shooting out everywhere. Now, when I watched it, I thought, they knew what would happen. They didn't put him in with great whites. These are just like reef sharks, right? They said bull sharks, but I think they're reef sharks from what I could tell. You knew what was going to happen at that point. And so in my mind, when I saw that, because I saw that when it went to air about a week ago, maybe 5 days ago, 6 days ago. Fonzie jumped the shark, Poopies didn't. Right, they were talking about that, Fonzie jumping the shark, which is, yeah, it's when the term jump the shark is apparently when a television show turns bad. But anyway, that's aside from the point. But when I saw it, I thought, wow, these guys are just complete dicks, right? They knew what would happen. It's like sticking your hand into a bee's nest. You're going to get stung, right? You know the outcome. And so I didn't really think, and Poopies was taking it pretty well. He just kind of said, oh, I'm pretty messed up and I hope I can get my wrist action back so I can, pop up on a surfboard and everything's going to be fine. And I think he will be fine. So I didn't really think much more of it than that. And then the question got brought to my attention just last night, actually, from Shyla Rose. She said, this isn't cool, right? How come humans can monetize, because this was all done for Shark Week and the Jackass movie, how come humans are allowed to monetize animals in the sense that the animal, in this case a shark, is just in the wild doing the shark thing? Now you could say, well, not really, because they brought it to the area by chumming it. So they're kind of like teasing the shark with food and the smell of food, and then they're putting food in the water, aka poopies. Well, actually, a human isn't typically shark food, but the shark will investigate, and that's where the danger lies, the investigation from the shark. Because what happened, and you'll see it here, the shark actually spits his hand out, and that's why he's got a hand to this day, because the shark sort of went, oh, that's disgusting. That's too much bone. I don't want that. They're looking for the soft flesh of a seal, right? Or a larger fish. They're not looking for a bony arm. Like they bite the back of a boat or an engine, they just let it go, right? They put their teeth around it and they let it go. Well, you see the footage of great whites doing that. You don't really see a reef shark doing it. It's the same concept. They bite down on something and then they just let it go when they realize it's not food. But that actual motion, it's so much power, and the teeth are so sharp. That's where the wounds inflict, and that's how often people die, because they bleed out before they can get to the. In this case, he got to a boat pretty quick. He had help at hand. So interesting information. Thank you, David. Thank you, my friend. So the question is, should humans be allowed to monetize that crap? Like, this is a big production, right? And they knew, like, we're going to get you to jump over shark-infested waters. Is there a risk I might get bitten? Yeah, they're sharks. So they knew, right? And I'm not saying anything against the concept or the fact that they did it, because the whole concept and the whole narrative of the show Jackass is to do crap like that. But what I'm asking, and I guess what the question from Charlotte was, should this be a thing? Should this be allowed? And if, like, extrapolate it even further, if so, where does it stop? Like, could I then go and, I don't know, go and bait a bear, like get a bear to come out of the woods into like a Canadian village and run the bear through the town and video it for YouTube? And as soon as the bear starts eating people and biting on children, I mean, well, yeah, you brought a bear out of the woods into a town, into a little village, and it went rampant, but I monetized it. Like, that's taken it very, very far. But the question remains, are we as humans, I was going to say morally, I don't really care too much about the morals of it, but I'm just wondering, how does it go? Like, big companies, big investments making this television show, and they're basically putting a shark, and I'm a surfer, so I don't really care too much for sharks. They're nasty, right? I don't really care for them, but you're teasing it, right? I wouldn't tease a seagull down by the beach, throwing chips at it, and then pulling the chip away. Aren't we meant to live all together here on the planet? And if we're going to suck monetization from teasing a shark doing what it would normally do, I mean, it doesn't sit well, does it? And so he had help at hand. Well said. Is that what? Did I use those words? Did I? I didn't mean to do that, but there you go. Let's take a look at the story. Although first of all, let me show you. This is the episode as it went to air on the Hawk vs. Wolf podcast. What I'll do here, I'm not going to play this, but I will. That's Ellis. This is Poopy's here. So that's him telling his story. I will put that in the chisel chat just in case you want to look at it at your own leisure. You can take a look at that at your own leisure. I don't want to play that here, but I definitely wanted you to know that is existing. And in fact, it's a good podcast, but in this episode, Hawk and Ellis really don't let him talk much. It's like they talk over him all the time. He's trying to tell his story, and they're trying to tell him what they think the thing is. So you felt really angry. You felt scared. What did you? Oh, he starts talking. Yeah, I felt like did you know you were injured? Did the blood come? Well, the blood was coming out. So you grabbed your hand. Did you grab your hand? Did you hold your hand? I grabbed my hand and then I sort of half swam back. You swam back to the boat. Were they waiting for you? Let him talk. They were just going for it, like bang, 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 bang. And I don't know from skateboarding. I don't know Ellis or Hawk. I have met Tony Hawk, but he wouldn't have any memory of this. But I have met him. I have said hello to him. I said, "Hey, man." This was at Adelaide at the big day out when I was photographing, and he was demoing on Shane Serena's ramp. Shane, I had a photo pass that got me into the pit for each band, and then because I know all the skateboarders because I'm a skateboarder. So Shane's like, "Oh, you can photograph the skateboarding, come up on the platform, no worries." And I said, well, "Okay, well, who's demoing?" He's like, "Oh, well, so and so and so and so, and Hawk will be here at 11:35 for 15 minutes." And so I went into this is a stupid story. It's not even a story, but I went into the backstage area, I suppose, of the athletes, the skateboarding. And Hawk was just in the room by himself with his vert bag, just getting ready. Just no media around him, no entourage, just him with his bag and his board, getting ready to get his pads on. So I just took the chance and went up and said, "Hey, man, no big deal, but I know who you are. Respect what you've done for skateboarding. I'm going to be photographing. Have a good session." And he's like, "Cool, man." He was pretty, he was getting ready for a demo on a ramp that he'd never ridden before. Although, no, he had ridden that ramp before because that's the old ARD ramp. Or maybe Shane had made a new one. No, I'm pretty sure that's the same ARD ramp from back in the other Narellan days. And anyway, he was just doing his thing. And so then I went and photographed him, and I got a rad photo of him doing a frontside rock, which is just, yeah. Anyway, my point is, go and have a look at the Hawk vs. Wolf podcast. This is the episode in the chat. Now, let's have a look at how the media reported this. This is on 9.com.au. This is the big news channel in Australia. Stuart Marsh, the senior producer, put together this story. Let's have a little look-ski. And I hate these in-website players. So clunky. Just put it on YouTube, you wally. It's not even going to play, is it? Just put it on YouTube and put the link. People that make their own little in-app players. That's the story, or that's how Discovery edited it together. And the story runs here. A man has been seriously bitten by a shark while filming a stunt for the infamous TV show Jackass. Sean McKerney, or Poopies.
Steak? Money's too tight for steak.
Steak?
Cut of meat, cut of meat, cut of meat, vegan meat, cut of meat, cut of meat, cut of meat, cut of meat.
Seriously? Thank you, Charlotte. I'm sorry that bloody Britney Spears legal battle had to play auto over the top of that, but vegan meat, cut of meat, cut of meat, vegan meat, cut of meat, cut of meat, cut of meat, cut of meat. Thank you, Charlotte Rose. How you doing? for the super chat there, the $8 super chat. Thank you very, very much. This is Charlotte Rose, who did suggest we take a look at this story. So thank you for the suggestion and thank you for the super chat, Charlotte. I apologize for that autoplay crap. I'm trying to read this story, but that played over the top. So his name is Sean McKerney, known as Poopies. He was filming a stunt for the Jackass Shark Week special, which involved him jumping over a pack of sharks on a wakeboard. Before attempting the jump, chum, or burley as it's known in Australia, was used to lure the sharks into the area below the ramp, and a bucket of chum was also tipped over Poopies. So okay, it's pretty graphic there. I mean, he's holding his beat up hand. The shark, believed to be a type of whaler shark, jumped on Poopies as soon as he hit the water. Hashtag Free Britney. On the first take, Poopsies fell into the water where a shark bit his wrist and hand, seriously injuring him in the process. Poopies got bit. They're putting a tourniquet on it right now. Was it only one bite in one spot? Asked the show host Steve-O. He's not missing anything. That's actually a photograph from the underwater cameras. So the shark severed several of Poopy's tendons and opened 2 arteries, leading to massive blood loss in the water. He was rushed to a nearby hospital where doctors were able to save his hand. 2 of his fingers are now unable to be bent. Well, that's still got to be worked through. He's going to have a lot of recuperative, what's it called? Medical. What's it called? Where they flex your hand and push it around and stuff. All that crap. So that's the story. Treatments. He needs to have more treatments. That's the story. And yeah, I mean, obviously, right? Nobody can, and I'm sure that they won't even deny it. The idea was put you in harm's way, and more than likely, if you mess this launch ramp up, you're probably going to get bitten, right? But they're not great whites. They're not going to swallow you whole. There might have even been a conversation going to the fact, like, how much pain can you handle? Like, these are razor sharp teeth. Are you okay to cop a bite to the leg, or, you know, it won't be to your head. Are you okay to get a bite on the hand? Or they're only 6 foot long sharks. They're not going to swallow you, but you may get a bite. How do you feel? And physiotherapy, that was the word. Thank you. I'm not 100% certain on this, but I'm 99% certain there was a waiver signed, and the waiver would have said, hey, if whatever happens, happens. I acknowledge that. And I guess that's not really, it's kind of hard to get past that, but that's not really the point, because he went into it willingly and the show willingly filmed it for the show. The real question is what I said before. Should we be able to do this? Should this be a thing where we can monetize animals being animals, because that's all that shark was? He thought it was just food, or it. Can't identify a shark these days. Might be offending someone. So yeah, the shark just doing its shark thing, and we're monetizing it. I mean, you could argue, but we monetize all animals from anywhere. We all eat cows, we all eat sausages, whatever the hell they are, and we all eat seafood. It's a fair point. I'm not here to have the answer. I don't pretend I have the answer. I'm not suggesting I've got the answer. I'm just raising the question. Is it something we need to discuss? Or do we need some kind of regulatory measure? Hell, I hope not. We've got too many regulatory measures about nearly everything else. At least making a television show in the wild should be. I mean, yeah, that's a good point. What about all those guys that make, like, man, we'd have to be like talking to Steve Irwin and his estate, and like Aussie Man Adventures and all those guys that literally go and monetize animals. They're all putting themselves in harm's way. I think we've kind of answered our own question. You're allowed to make a documentary, which is putting you in harm's way. So what's the difference here with this documentary? It's a wakeboarding documentary, kind of. I don't know. Free Britney. So we should look into that another time too, right? Maybe Britney next stream. Okay, we'll look into Britney Spears another time. There are some other stories here that would sort of just lead a little more, not clarity, because I don't have a clear answer, but this would certainly give you a little more fuel for this discussion. Let's take a look at this story. This is from the Smithsonian Magazine. A young black bear was put down after humans fed it and took selfies. The more food bears obtain. Gee, that's hard to say. I thought they were food bears. The more food bears obtain from humans, the more likely they are to lose their natural fear of us. This makes sense, right? Keep giving those seagulls chipses, they're going to come right up to your picnic grounds. This bear was only a few years old. Okay. Wildlife officials found the young black bear along a highway in Oregon feasting on trail mix, sunflower seeds, and cracked corn that appeared to have been deliberately left there for him. It was the latest in a string of worrying incidents indicating that the 100-pound male had become too comfortable with humans, and law enforcement had previously been made aware that people were taking selfies with the bear. So, I mean, there you go. Like, we're talking like influencers getting up close with the bear. Hashtag bear love. Hashtag how much can I bear? Hashtag I can't bear anymore. Makeup by Bare Lips. .inc. Right? That kind of crap. And so the state officials felt that they had no choice but to kill the animal. So at that point, the state officials jumped in and said, well, this is a wild animal. You guys have somehow tamed it to the point where it's coming in. We don't trust it. It's wild. For your safety, pop, we're killing it. And I guess that does leverage to this equation of the question, should we be allowed to monetize animals? A bear. It was a human health and safety risk. Wildlife biologist Kurt License. No kidding. They've made that up, surely. Kurt License, got a license to kill, tells Samantha Hawkins of the Salem Statesman Journal. We had to remove it. Well, you didn't really remove it. You killed it. Removing it or relocating it might have been better. Earlier this month, the Washington County Sheriff's Office and the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife started getting calls about the bear, which liked to hang out near a boat ramp. Probably because it got fed, right? I mean, that's the thing too. Don't forget that if seagulls were dangerous, if pelicans were dangerous, if these kind of birds that we see right down here at Crookie's at the boat ramp, if they were deadly, they'd be killing them too, right? We feed the seagull chipses, we feed the pelican the offshoots of the fishing guts and crap. If those pelicans could kill you, they'd be killed as well. So don't forget that. It's just because this is a bear. The bare minimum, Charlotte, the bare minimum. I'll pay that. David, I remember I also had shark attacks on me a few years ago in Geroa Beach. Wait. You've been attacked by a shark in Geroa? Shit. Believed to have been around 2 or 3 years old, the bear was also cropping up on social media posts compounding authorities' concerns. Shit. Last week, the sheriff's office sent out a tweet, so oddly enough, using social media to protect you from the bear on social media. I raise the question again. How much can you bear? Beach chickens. Yeah, you don't want beach chickens, Charlie. You do not want a beach chicken. They're the worst chickens, right? Land chickens, fine. Scrub chickens, bush chickens, beach chickens, hell no. Those are the gnarly chickens. You don't want a beach chicken. Hey, I'd be popping them if I could. If I had a license like Kurt License, I'd be killing beach chickens as well. Shit, I did give it 100% true. Oh wow, what kind of a shark did you get attacked by, David? On Thursday, Kurt License and fellow wildlife official Doug Kitchen. You're kidding me. His name's Kitchen? We're going to cut this bear up and we're going to serve it in the kitchen. We got a license. It's too weird. Decided to try to trap and relocate the bear. Okay, so they tried to relocate it first. But when they found it eating snacks that had been scattered along the highway, they came to believe that the time for relocation had passed. Oh wow, man. So they're the judge and jury. They do have a license. The Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife explains that it does not translocate bears that have been habituated by humans because these animals are much more likely to have dangerous interactions with humans in the future. And so officials lethally removed the creature. This is a classic example of why we implore members of the public not to feed bears, right? We've heard of it in Australia where they hunt sharks after there's been a shark attack. Now, unless you are 100% confident that you've found the shark that made the attack, how do you know you're killing the right one? I mean, in this case, they knew it was the right bear, but it's a weird question, right? Like, hey man, look, as a surfer, I'd probably rather there were no sharks in the ocean. I don't see a problem with removing a shark, but there is a conversation around that. Oh, sharks are this and that. Sharks are needed because of this and that. In my mind, sharks are the apex of the food chain. They're the top of the food chain. So if we're not killing sharks, no one else is. There's nothing else that... sorry, I should have been more clear. A great white shark. Great white shark is the top of the food chain in the water, right? In the oceans. Hell, we don't have land-based sharks, do we? In the oceans, the shark is the top of the food chain. So apex predator. So nothing else affects it except old age. So you're essentially breeding a dinosaur at that point. Unless we sort of step in and say, well, we want to use the oceans. We want to be able to go swimming in our oceans in Australia, and we don't want to be attacked by a great white. Well, we make examples of bears. We set the pace with the bears. We use lethally, what do they call it? Lethally removed. Shouldn't we be doing that with sharks? I guess that's another subject, and we have touched on that once before. I've no idea what shark it was, but my surfing school teacher saw it, and that shark attacked the other grips in the water. Wow. I'm getting people suggest Beyond Blue and Lifeline to me on my COVID Facebook page for saying I won't cope with this new looming lockdown. Wow. Micah, hello Micah. Dolphins kill sharks? Great white sharks? You sure of that? I mean, they are the top of the food chain. They're the apex predator. Good to see you though. Let's continue with another story, which is this is a sad one. This is a real sad one, right? This story here from Australia. Man, it's got pop-ups galore. On hover. Deer kills man, seriously injures woman in rural Victoria. A man is dead and a woman has been left with horrific injuries after they were attacked by a deer in the north of Victoria yesterday. I shit you not, this is by Natalie Wolf. You can't make this crap up, right? Natalie Wolf is the reporter here. Natalie Wolf. That's like an ice cream man named Cone. So let's take a look at this. An in-app player again. Let's play it. Is it going to play? Is this going to play? These things are so clunkified. Just play it, man. Oh, are you kidding me? Seriously? Why don't they just embed this from a YouTube link, you absolute morons? Nah, that ain't gonna play. Okay, well, I'll read it to you. Dolphins kill sharks. They most definitely can take out great whites. They keep charging and hitting them with their nose, crushing their internal organs. Right. Who brings that story on social media, Gibbs? Which story? This story? This is from news.com.au. A man is dead. This will shock you, right? A man is dead and a woman has been left with horrific injuries after they were attacked by their pet deer. So the story headline reads, attacked by a deer. Turns out they were keeping this deer as a pet. I mean, at that particular point, who owns a pet deer in Australia, and for what reason would you need a pet deer? Deer aren't as prolific like in America and Canada. We do have wild deer, but a pet deer? What the hell? What would you do that for? Paul McDonald, 47, was understood to have been feeding the deer, which he had kept for 2 years at his property in Moihu, never heard of it, near Wangaratta in the state's northeast, about 8:20 when the animal attacked. Now playing over on the sidebar, get that off. Wow, he looks nothing like his photograph there. What? What the hell? Look how sketchy these news stations are. Look, they've literally got a photograph of him and her here, and right under it, there's a blurred image of her. Well, that could be somebody else. Yeah, it's probably somebody else. Okay. Acting Senior Sergeant Paul Purcell told reporters that Mr. McDonald entered an enclosure where he kept the deer. It's a cross between a red deer and an elk this morning and was attacked. He said his wife, Mandy, and son heard the commotion and went to see what was going on. The son then left to get help, but when he returned, he found his mother had also been attacked, as well as his father. When police arrived, the deer was shot. Right? Keeping the deer as a pet, and the deer does the deer thing, and now the deer is dead. in order to protect a paramedic who was trying to save Mr. McDonald. So the deer was going nuts. Despite the best efforts from paramedics, the man died at the scene from critical injuries. The woman suffered life-threatening upper body and leg injuries and was treated by air ambulance. She has since been flown to Alfred Hospital in Melbourne in a critical condition. Mr. Purcell said the family are very traumatized by what happened and locals in the small community are in shock. It's an absolute tragedy. The family is devastated. It's beyond words. They are wild animals, whether they are in the wild or kept as pets, and their behavior can be unpredictable. Mr. McDonald's brother told 9 News that Mrs. McDonald's rushed to help her husband, but was also attacked. In 2013, Mr. McDonald shared a picture of a family member feeding a deer on his Facebook page. "My boy," the caption reads, with a smiling emoji. The government report found deer are so well established in the southern state it is now impossible to eradicate them. Why were they keeping a pet deer? The council tweeted out, "Our biggest fears may have been realized. We need hard heads to tackle this growing problem, not hard hooves." A culling of deer. Why were they keeping it as a pet? What on earth? Crazy. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Like, why would you keep a deer as a pet? This is auto playing in the background. Let's kill that crap. A buck can really mess you up, Micah, for sure. Aero Gamer, hello. Morning, Gives and Givers. Well done last night on your win, Sharla. On your win? Yeah, I mean, that's the question here, right? I'm not pretending I've got the answer. I don't know why you'd own a pet deer. Do deer... I'm not too sure what deer do, right? Do they trim the grass like a goat does? Do they provide milk for you like a cow does? Why do you need a pet deer? Is it just because your son went up to it in the wild as a baby years ago and you thought you'd keep it? Well, there you go. That's a sad story, but you kept the deer as a pet. Can you share that in forms, please, Gibbs? What do you mean share it? Do you want me to link it to you? I can link it if you want. Do you mean link it? Is that what you meant? Link it? There's the link. Micah says, just to say, look what I have. That's the only reason they'd keep a pet deer, just to say, I've got a pet deer. I don't know anyone in this country that's done that. I don't know anyone who's ever thought about that. It's kind of like keeping a pet shark. Here's the thing. I don't have the answer. I'm not here to tell you I've got the answer. I'm here to raise the question. The question is, should we be allowed to monetize animals in tragic circumstances for our own entertainment, which is what Jackass is, right? It's an entertaining program. Putting humans in the risk of what a shark would do normally. You could argue, yeah, but they knew the risk and they took that risk on. Fine. Should we be able to monetize that? I'm not saying we should or we shouldn't. I'm asking the question, should we? The other thing is, should we be allowed to cage wild animals for our own benefit? Often at the cost of the animal. As we've seen here, the bear got shot bang in the head by, what was his name? Kurt License, shot him in the head. Still can't believe that. And then the deer got shot by, what was this person's name? I've already lost it. I can't remember her name, but that deer got shot in the head because humans caged it up. So, fair questions, right? Fair questions. They're wanting to ban certain dog here too after maulings 2 days in a row last week. So dogs, I mean, it's a tricky situation because dogs and cats have been humanized, let's just say, or they've been domesticated for so long. But like, there are species of animals that just do not get domesticated. You can't domesticate a deer. You can't domesticate a shark. It's like you can't domesticate a bee or a hornet or a wasp. There are certain animals that you can domesticate. I'm not too sure what the answer is, but it's a sorry state of affairs. I think Micah says, I think it's all very irresponsible and inhumane to cage wild animals. So the difference there would be if they're born in captivity, because a wild animal, I mean, you could argue a dog originally was a wild animal, but they've been bred and born so long into captivity that they are man's best friend, whereas they never were in the original era. Dogs were not man's best friend. Where do you think we get dingoes and wolves and foxes and crap from? There's some dogs that are not man's best friend. Can you even say that these days, man's best friend, or has it got to be person's best? They're not human. They're not people's best friend. You can't domesticate most husbands either. So now we got another story. We got Brittany and domesticating husbands. Just saying. An animal's instincts can kick in at any time. I agree with you. Like I said at the beginning of this stream, I don't have the answer. I'm not here to pretend I got the answer. I'm here to raise the question and have the discussion, which we've just had. So I appreciate you being here with me to have this discussion. Sharla, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for all the lovely comments in the chisel chat. I'll see you all tomorrow. We'll talk about Britney Spears. Okay.